Let's play Mike Finode's clip because it says it all.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I would say to Stuart Rhodes. Go fuck yourself.
Okay.
You're a liar.
We didn't obviously get to beep that word out, but obviously this is personal to you, Michael. This is very personal to you.
You know what the actual obscenity here is? The actual obscenity is not Mike Fanone saying to Stuart Rhodes, go fuck yourself. The actual obscenity here is these monsters in Congress who were attacked that day by this mob, who hid behind walls and doors and benches, who were protected by the Mike Fanones and the Harry Dunns and the Brian Sicknicks and these other officers who were confronting a violent mob, they were sprayed with bear spray. They were sprayed with wasp spray. They were beaten with baseball bats, hockey sticks, flagpoles. They were injured. Mike Fanone was electrocuted with a stun gun so many times he had a fucking heart attack. These people, the people that are calling them hostages, that's the obscenity. That's the obscenity. Every one of these fuckers should have stayed in jail until the end of their terms. Nobody got a sentence there because they were Donald Trump fans. They got a sentence because they invaded the U.S. Capitol in a violent attempt to overthrow the United States government. They caught a sentence because they were attacking police officers, because they were defacing and defaming the U.S. Capitol, because they broke into a federal building with chains and sticks and clubs and knives and guns. The real obscenity here is that the media in this country would spend 30 seconds on Joe Biden pardoning his family when Donald Trump has pardoned more terrorists than have ever been released into our lives before. And these people will form the cadre of a violent movement that will back Donald Trump up with violence and retribution because they know they'll get another get out of jail free card. They know they'll get away with it. They know that in the future, Donald Trump will once again pardon and protect them because they're his people. And the lawlessness is the point, guys. The lawlessness is why he did it. He believes very strongly that the rule of law, because he's a fucking villain, okay? He believes very strongly that the rule of law has to be destroyed. That's why he's going to put Kash Patel in charge of the FBI and the lobbyist Pam Bondi in charge of the DOJ, and why he's going to personally go after people who he thinks offended him. Mike Pompeo and John Bolton, two men I have no truck with, who I'm not a fanboy of either one of them. They are both under legitimate threats from Iranian terrorists. They both have a fatwa against them. He took away their security details this week. The pettiness and the retribution and the violence that Donald Trump enjoys, it's about lawlessness. He must not be bound by the law. If he gets away with it over and over again, as he has, it will slip further and further. We will invite authoritarian abuse. I have one piece of advice for people, okay? I have one strong piece of advice for you. Go on any number of the websites, Insurrection Hunters and all these other places. Know who these people are. Know who these people are. You should think about them living in your neighborhood the same way you think about a murderer moving next door. You should think about them as a domestic terrorist moving into your neighborhood. You should know who they are. You should keep an eye out for them. They are criminals. They are terrorists. Very, very few of them, only a handful that were in there for violent offenses, have shown even the slightest iota of repentance. In fact, exactly. You've got these guys out there right now bragging, I'm going to go buy guns, and they're talking about revenge. And the fact that Lauren Boebert is invited Stuart Rhodes, and she's taking him around inside the U.S. Capitol he tried to overthrow, is vile. It is sick. It is fucked up. The fact that Republicans, including members of the House who were cowering, who were crying, who were calling their families saying, I might not make it out, they're coming through the door, who are now pretending that these people are some kind of fucking heroes. Get the fuck out of here. Go fuck yourselves. Sorry.
I love that. I want. No. I was ready to let you just keep going, because that's the exact energy that everyone needs to take into the next week, the following week, because he said he was going to be a dictator on day one. But if we keep pushing back, he can't be a dictator on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And so it's important for people to see you fired up like that, Rick. I think the cure for the common cold is
still in this. Yeah, folks, it's why we're still in this fight. Okay, there are plenty of people who are like, "Oh, you have to shut down now because Donald Trump is president." That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. You don't get to leave the fight. It's like Alexei Navalny says, you are not allowed to quit. So this week is going to suck, y'all. It has sucked all different ways. It's been horrible.
And next week, too.
Oh, yeah. It's been horrible for millions of Americans. It's going to get worse. Do not comply. Do not comply. Do not comply. Do not comply in advance. Do not comply in the moment. They do not and cannot break you if you refuse to comply in advance. They cannot break you if you keep pushing. They cannot break you if you are public in your opposition to them. You must continue the fight. We're going to continue the fight. Want to help us? Help us. If you don't want to help us, great. Either way. If I have to drive around in a fucking beat up van to continue the fight, I will. But I don't want to. But
we don't want you to.
I like my Volvo. But look, folks,
life.
Do not be afraid the way they want you to be afraid. You should be concerned. You should be alert. You should be present. But don't be afraid and say, "Oh, it's all over. We've lost. It's all done." He's already losing ground. He's only at 47% approval rating, and it's going to go down. The things he's proposing, including releasing these fucking terrorists, are very unpopular in the polling. He's very unpopular, the things he wants to do. And Russ Vaught, his Project 2025 budget director today, goes out and calls Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid a hammock that keeps people out of the workforce. What, do you think Granny wants to go back in the fucking coal mines? You think you think you want your 85-year-old grandfather to go out and be go out and be a server at Denny's? The fuck is that about? These people are going to fuck it up. Okay, Elon, he's fucking himself up. He had all this power, and yet he goes out this week and does a Hitler salute like an idiot. Can't stop himself. Trump can't stop himself. They lack the cognitive ability to control their shitty, horrible, dumb behaviors. And the things they're doing, price of eggs isn't going down. Price of gas isn't going down. None of the things that they thought they were voting for are going to happen. But we are going to jerk off talking about the Gulf of America and Greenland and invading Canada and invading Mexico. I mean, that's one, folks, by the way, just so you know, he just put 5,000 troops on the border. Here's the great part of this. I don't know if you guys remember this, but working in hostile desert environments has been a rough go for the United States for the last couple of decades. Try going up against the cartels who make the level of armaments that the Taliban and ISIS had look like, pop guns or BB guns. This is not going to go like he thinks it's going to go. This is not going to work the way he thinks it's going to work. The world is turning against him. They're turning their backs on this bullshit. When a Danish member of the European Parliament says, when he was asked about Trump taking over Greenland, he goes, the Greenland says, or the Danish people say, "Go fuck yourself." Go fuck yourself is the theme of this show, the theme of the fight. And consider me an extended middle finger in this organization, deeply committed to the theme of "Go fuck yourself, Donald Trump."